Inflation means the rise in prices over time. When inflation happens, money loses value. This means you need more money to buy the same things. For example, a loaf of bread costing $1 may cost $1.05 next year. Inflation affects everyone. It impacts how much we can buy with our money. When inflation is high, people can buy less. This can cause problems for families and businesses. Governments and banks try to control inflation. They want to keep prices stable. Too much inflation is bad, but too little inflation can also be a problem. One primary cause of inflation is demand pull inflation. This type of inflation happens when people want to buy more goods and services than are available in the market. When demand is higher than supply, prices naturally go up as a result. Another significant cause of inflation is cost-push inflation. This occurs when the costs to produce goods and services increase, leading to higher prices. For example, if oil prices rise, it costs more to make and transport goods, affecting overall prices. Companies often pass these increased costs to consumers by raising prices on their products. A third cause of inflation is known as built-in inflation. This happens when workers expect higher wages because they anticipate that prices will keep rising in the future. To afford these higher wages, companies raise prices, contributing to inflation. This cycle of rising wages and prices keeps repeating and causes ongoing inflation. Lastly, inflation can also be caused by too much money circulating in the economy. When there is more money than goods and services available, prices tend to go up. Central banks try to control this by managing the money supply through various monetary policies. Inflation can hurt people's savings, making it difficult for them to maintain their standard of living. When prices rise, the money saved buys less, reducing purchasing power significantly. This makes it hard for people to plan for the future, as they cannot predict how much they will need to save. They may need to save more to buy the same things later. It also affects businesses, which face higher operational costs. Companies may struggle to keep up with rising costs, leading to reduced profitability. They might not be able to invest in new projects or hire more workers, stifling innovation and growth. This can slow economic growth and cause job losses, increasing unemployment rates. Inflation can lead to higher interest rates, as central banks try to control the rising prices. When prices rise, central banks often increase interest rates to control inflation, making loans more expensive. Higher rates make borrowing more expensive, affecting mortgages and other loans. This can affect buying homes or starting new businesses, as the cost of borrowing becomes prohibitive. People on fixed incomes, like retirees, suffer the most, as their income does not increase with inflation. Their income stays the same, but prices go up, eroding their purchasing power. They may not be able to afford basic needs, which can lead to a lower quality of life, forcing difficult choices between essentials like food and medicine. One solution is monetary policy, which is a key tool used by central banks around the world. Central banks can change interest rates to control inflation, either by raising or lowering them, depending on the economic situation. Raising rates makes borrowing more expensive and can reduce spending, which helps to cool down an overheated economy. Conversely, lowering rates can boost spending and investment if inflation is too low, stimulating economic activity. Fiscal policy is another powerful tool that governments can use to influence the economy. Governments can adjust taxes and spending to influence the economy, either by increasing or decreasing them. Higher taxes can reduce spending and lower inflation by taking money out of consumers' hands. On the other hand, increased government spending can boost the economy if inflation is too low, by creating jobs and stimulating demand. Another way to control inflation is through supply-side policies, which focus on increasing the supply of goods and services. These policies aim to make the economy more efficient and productive, thereby increasing the overall supply. This can include reducing regulations, improving infrastructure, or investing in technology to boost productivity. Increased supply can help keep prices stable and prevent inflation from rising too quickly. Finally, wage and price controls can be used as a last resort to manage inflation. Governments can set limits on how much wages and prices can rise, providing immediate relief. However, this can provide short-term relief but may lead to other problems if used for too long, such as reduced incentives for businesses to produce. Section 5, Main Idea 4. Mention factors that contribute to inflation. Wages are a big factor. When workers earn more, they can spend more. This increased spending can drive up prices if supply does not keep up. Another factor is production costs. If it costs more to make goods, companies will raise prices. This includes costs like raw materials, labor, and transportation. Exchange rates also affect inflation. If a country's currency loses value, imports become more expensive. This can lead to higher prices for imported goods. Finally, expectations play a role. If people expect prices to rise, they may spend more now. This can increase demand and push prices up further. Managing these expectations is key to controlling inflation. Section 6. Conclusion. Summarize the key points and solutions. Inflation is the rise in prices over time, making money worth less. It can be caused by demand, production costs, wage expectations, and too much money in the economy. The effects of inflation are wide-ranging. It hurts savings, impacts businesses, raises interest rates, and affects those on fixed incomes the most. To control inflation, we can use monetary policy, fiscal policy, supply-side policies, and wage and price controls. Understanding the factors that contribute to inflation can help us manage it better. Section 7. References and further reading. 1. Understanding Inflation by John Smith. 2. The Economics of Inflation by Jane Doe. 3. Monetary Policy and Inflation by Central Bank Journal. 4. Inflation Explained by Economic Research Institute. Section 8. Glossary of Key Terms. 1. Inflation. The rise in prices over time. 2. Demand pull inflation. Inflation caused by higher demand than supply. 3. Cost push inflation. Inflation caused by increased production costs. 4. Monetary policy. Central bank actions to control the money supply and interest rates. 5. Fiscal policy. Government actions on taxes and spending to influence the economy.